Hi, I'm Morgan. Welcome to Way of Living podcast, where you will hear empowering women talking about how you shouldn't feel stuck in an unfulfilling career and how to follow your dreams. Life is short, live it to the fullest, and I hope you will feel inspired by their stories. Often, the reason why people decide to change careers is because of drastic events. Julie Creffield was made redundant 4 times in the first decade she worked. She's had enough after the 4th time, especially when she found out she was pregnant with her daughter. She turned her blog that she already had on the side into a company. She trained as a business mentor and she became her own boss while juggling solo parenting. In this episode, Julie talks about how COVID-19 made her rethink her whole plan for 2020 when she expected it to be her best year yet. She talks about how she got started as a community engagement strategist and business mentor, and she finally shares with us how she doubled her income during the pandemic. Hi Julie, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast. I'm very excited.
Me too.
So you have a lot on your plate. You're a single mom. You are a business owner of a website, which is Too Fat to Run. And you're also a mentor. So I always ask my interviewees to introduce themselves.
Sure. So I describe myself as a community engagement strategist and business mentor. So what that means is I help small business owners, mainly coaches and experts, to help build a profitable tribe around their business venture. And I also run a plus size fitness business, which you described, Too Fat to Run. So Too Fat to Run has been going for about 10 years. It started off as a blog and I turned it into a business once my daughter was born. I run both of those alongside each other.
Your daughter is 7, and when she was born, you had enough of being made redundant. You worked for 10 years, and in those 10 years, 4 times you were made redundant, and the last straw was your little girl. You were like, that's enough. I want to be on my own now. And can you describe what you did before?
Sure. So I've always worked in community engagement. So I started my career off as a drama practitioner. So I worked with young people and different community groups to help them make sense of their lives. And then the Olympics came to East London and I somehow got involved in working on the Olympics, and I helped with the recruitment strategy. How do we get 70,000 volunteers involved in the game? So it was very much around how do you get normal everyday people to get involved in, extraordinary things. And as you say, I got made redundant 4 times in 10 years, and each time it knocked a bit of my confidence. Each time it affected my lifestyle, my bank balance, and it became really unnerving. I didn't want my life to be held back by other people's policies. Every time government policy changed, redundancies were made. And I was fed up of being told by, an old bloke in a suit that my job was done, and when I had my daughter, I just thought I cannot let other people be responsible for our well-being. And so I was on maternity leave, thinking about what do I do? Even if I was to become like a contractor, which I'd done previously, you're still chasing contracts all the time, and that's still reliant on funding. So I decided I was going to set up a business. I'd been writing my plus size fitness blog for about 3 years. It was quite popular, but I'd never made any money from it. So I went along to a local business advisory service in East London. And the bloke there said, oh, what you've got here, love, it's a hobby. You'll never make any money from it. And that was like a red flag to me. I was like, right, I'll show you. And so I did. I turned the blog into a business. I got a business loan to set up a website, started selling merchandise, T-shirts and hoodies. And, the rest is history, I guess, and that business grew rapidly with organic, tribe building strategies. I never did Facebook ads. I never did paid advertisement, but I managed, because of my story, because the story was quite unique, to get on national TV, to get in all the newspapers, and managed to pick up sponsorship deals with major brands. And it showed what is possible when you have a mission-led business. So my business wasn't really about me. I had this vision. What if I could get 1 million overweight women running? How awesome would that be? Because for me, it was never really about weight loss. It was more about acceptance. How can we help women to feel more accepted in the running world, you know, particularly plus size women? And because people resonated with that mission and with my personal story, people wanted to get involved. So it was very, I don't want to say easy, because, you know, there were definitely times where it wasn't easy, but it got momentum really quickly. So people wanted to get involved. And so it's been a phenomenal 10 years. We celebrated at the weekend, the 10-year anniversary. And, you know, I'm now kind of geeing myself up to think, right, what do I do next with that business? What does the next 10 years look like? And so what I'm hoping to do is to train up 2 Factor Run coaches all over the country, so that people have somewhere physical to go and to run and to feel like they're safe. So that business is my baby. It's I love it. But I also, a couple of years ago, started to feel a bit bored, really, and also realized I've got all of these skills around how to build a business, and all of my friends and lots of people that I met was like, how did you do it? Can you teach me? And so I just started to dabble a little bit in business coaching, and now I love it. I love helping other people to grow their businesses really quick, and to be ethical businesses, you know, businesses that are based on people's passions, and to create freedom, because isn't that what we all want in our businesses? We want our businesses to help us live an exciting life, not be like the jobs we've done, you know, tied down to a desk and not making enough money and hanging on till payday. You know, so for me, everything is about freedom.
How did you start this mentoring business?
So I had this idea for a program. I was like, what did I do to build my tribe? And I broke it down into kind of 7 key components. And I was like, what if I taught people those key components? Mm-hmm. And so I'm a massive believer in piloting stuff. I get an idea and I'm like, okay, let me just find some people that might be up for doing this, and we'll take it from there. And so that's what I did. I put a call out. I said, I've got this program. It's called Tribe Builder. I'm looking for, I'm looking for 20 small business owners who would be willing to pilot this with me. And I did. I think I got 22, and this was 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, maybe. And yeah, I helped them all make money. I helped them all grow their tribes. And it didn't take long for that business to take off, because I'd learned all of the lessons from the previous one, you know. And I think sometimes we can be really apologetic about when we make changes, when we're like, oh, I used to be this, but now I'm this. And we can spend too long making apologies for it. And I know I felt a little bit like that at the beginning, like, yes, I run my fitness business, and also I'm a business coach as well. Like, and I used to be a bit embarrassed, and then I had to get over that really, really quickly, because it is okay to do 2 things. It is okay to be multi-passionate and to have a lot of skills. You know, I have a very broad skill set. I'm really good at PR and marketing and branding. I'm really good at ideas. I'm really good at community engagement. And so sometimes we want to put ourselves in boxes because we don't want to be too big. Like, oh, I mustn't be too brilliant, because then I'll make people feel really bad, you know, or people will attack me. And I think a lot of the similarities in my running business and in my business coaching business is we are so afraid of judgment. We are so afraid of putting our stuff out there and having people say, who does she think she is? And
especially as women.
Especially as women. Mm-mm. It's not unique to women, I find, because I do work with some men, but it is absolutely the curse of the woman, is that, you know, I mustn't shine too brightly, because otherwise I'll be pulled down a peg or 2.
You've done this program, you know, this 7 stage, but how long did it take for you on your own? Because you didn't have a mentor when you built your first business. How long did it take you to actually find out those 7 steps?
Sure. So I think in my plus size fitness business, when I first launched it, there was a lot of excitement, because it was the first time that I was selling everything, and all of my followers wanted to support it. And then after a while, that dipped a little bit, and I had to find new ways of making money. So that's when I started developing group programs. And at the time, online group programs was a completely new thing. No one was doing it back then. Obviously, post-COVID, everybody is delivering their things online. But at the time it was really unique, and it was great for my women who didn't feel comfortable going to a traditional running club, so they could do stuff online with me. And so I would say it took probably 3 years for that business to become super profitable. But once I'd got it across the line, it then becomes a lot easier. And also I made all the mistakes. I didn't have a business coach. I didn't invest properly. I did stuff outside of my remit. I got distracted with bright, shiny objects, people that promised me stuff, and it didn't transpire. And I'm a lot more focused now. I have my strategy. I follow my strategy. And I think sometimes we have to go through some of that as business owners to find our own way and to trust our instincts. So I think the second time round, taking Tribe Builder out, I just knew the mistakes. I knew how to do it faster. So the first business, it took me about 3 years to get it to 6 figures, whereas Tribe Builder, it took me like 8 or 9 months. And that's because I had the skills to do it.
So January 2020 arrived, and you made 5 figures in a month. You had 800 more clients. You thought, okay, 2020 is my year, and COVID-19 arrived.
Yeah.
What did you feel, and what did you do?
Yeah, I'd always planned for 2020 to be my big year. I'd done a lot of testing in 2019. I'd got my confidence. I was really starting to align myself to what it was I wanted to do. And so I went into 2020 with this, abundant mindset. Yes, I took my daughter to Paris for her birthday for the day, and we went off to Butlins for the week. And, I was starting to enjoy my business, to actually take time off, which was unusual for me. And yeah, I welcomed 800 clients in January. I was like, yeah, the money's coming in. I'm just going to ramp things up. And then COVID hit. And I swear it was literally 3 days of panic. And then I was like, right, I am not going to let this global pandemic ruin my life. Because, I had this really weird feeling of like, oh my God, it's typical. The year I was supposed to kind of do all of this stuff, and look what's happened. And it almost felt like I'd attracted it. It was almost that message of, don't get too big for your boots. Don't think too big, because there's always something around the corner that will hit you down. And so, as I said, I had about 3 days of panic. My biggest panic was childcare. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have my daughter at home. I'm going to have to homeschool. I'm not going to have any of the support that I have from her dad, from after school clubs, from my family. I am on my own. That was the biggest panic. The other thing I was really aware of was my running clients. I knew, because it's such a diverse community, I knew many of those women would be hit the hardest. Many of them had to shield. Many of them had kids at home. Many of them are on low incomes. I knew I couldn't tap into that audience to make money. It didn't feel to me ethical to do that. So I made a lot of decisions based on how can I support that group of people who had supported me for such a long time. And so I come up with this concept called the triangle of need. So what it's based on is, right at the top of the triangle is me. What do I need? What do I need financially? What do I need from an ego perspective? What do I need to feel secure, to feel safe? Then I was like, right, what do my women need? And I was specifically thinking about my business, my running clients. What do they need? And they needed to feel like they weren't alone. They needed to feel like I had their back. They needed a way of staying motivated during COVID, to stay active and to do self-care and stuff like that. And then I was like, right, the other side of this triangle is there must be another need. So there's me, there's my clients, there must be another need that they also believe in. And so at the time I was getting a lot of my friends, my peers who were fitness trainers, yoga instructors, masseurs, therapists, all saying, oh my God, I've had to close my clinic. I've had to close my studio. I've got no work. How on earth am I going to live? And so by joining up those 3 needs, I was able to develop a program called Thrive Inside. And so the whole idea of Thrive Inside was we would stream motivation, fitness, therapy into the group. And if they could afford it, they would pay £5 a month. But if they couldn't afford it, it was absolutely fine. And so we had around, I don't know how many people, but, a lot of people were happy to donate £5 a month to get, pretty much daily support into the group. So we had everything from laughter yoga to circuit training to, you know, everything you could think of that you could do in your front room, we streamed into people's homes. And that gave me, it took the pressure off me. It meant that I didn't have to over deliver to that audience. I coordinated it, the other therapist delivered it, and it brought in enough money to pay the therapists and to keep some of my admin going. And then that just meant I could free up my mind to start working on the business coaching business. Because what had happened was people were like, you know, even my friends, you know, colleagues and peers would phone me up and say, right, all these years I've heard you talking about building a tribe. I need to learn how to build mine. And so I started getting all these inquiries about business coaching. And I think there was a brief moment where I was like, is it ethical to take people's money to teach them how to make money? And I was like, absolutely, it is, because there are lots of people with a heap more money than me doing that right now. And it was really interesting to see when Corona hit how leaders were leading. What was it they were saying to their audiences? How were they responding? Were they doing it from a position of service, or were they just going, right, I need to make as much money as I can while I can, you know, and putting out kind of offers and stuff like that. So for me, I just went into this mode of, I am going to build my business. I'm going to do it ethically. And I'm going to stop being apologetic about the work that I do, because I know I really help small business owners to make more money and also to make more impact in their business. So it became a no-brainer for me that I was not going to step back in my business. I was going to step up and step forward. And I think the biggest challenge through the whole of COVID was childcare, trying to manage a 7-year-old who, my daughter Rose, I love her dearly. She is so bright, so vivacious, so she's full of energy, you know, and we live in a 2-bedroom flat, and you know, she wants to do gymnastics, she wants to run around, you know. And so when you're trying to serve your clients and deliver you know, coaching, it become really tough. And I remember sending out an email to my whole entire list saying, this is the situation. I have a 7-year-old at home, and on our coaching calls, I may have to stop and go and get her an ice lolly. I may have to stop the call altogether and go and sort her out because she's having a tantrum. And if that means I'm not the coach for you right now, then, you know, unsubscribe, or, you know, ask for a refund or whatever, because I wasn't going to apologize for having a 7-year-old at home that was sometimes temperamental, because I couldn't deal with that level of stress on top of everything else. And actually the response I got from my clients was phenomenal. I mean, it makes me want to cry now. They were so supportive of me. And that, I think, is the difference between building a tribe and just building a client base. Yeah. When you build a tribe, you talk from the heart, you share honestly what you're about. And then if people don't like it, they can leave, and that's okay, because you've got the people that do support you, that do get what it is you're trying to do.
So you're saying that actually this COVID-19 made you even more creative. You were very creative before about like what you wanted to do and how to get where you wanted to go. But I feel like during COVID-19, you were like, okay, I need not to help just myself, I need to help all my community. And you became so creative, and you actually thrived during those months.
Yeah, I think because there was so much noise online. So if you think about it, pre-COVID, there was so much activity that happened in the real world. And then when everyone was in their homes, everybody started creating content. All the actors, all the musicians, all the yoga instructors, you know, anybody that had a business or had a platform was creating content, was offering programs. And so I know there were definitely business coaches who shrunk back from that and was like, oh my God, how can I get my stuff seen? Like, it's impossible. There's so much. And I've definitely got colleagues and friends that said, do you know what? I'm just going to take a break. I'm not willing to fight for the clients. I'm not willing to fight for that income, for their mental health, for their physical health. It was a better decision for them to step back and do nothing. I know myself, if I'd done that, I would have been a broken mess, because my work is really important to me in terms of my mental health and my ego and all of those things. You know, I love my work, and as much as I love being a mum, I don't think I was ever cut out to just be a full-time mum. And I'm okay with admitting that. Like, some people are really good at that stuff. I'm not so good. And actually COVID really tested my ability as a mum. Like, you know, there's only so many jigsaw puzzles you can do. There's only so many times you can play Connect Four, you know, and that's what COVID did, I think, for parents. It really tested their ability to be present with their kids.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it doesn't mean that you're a worse parent than the moms that they are full-time with their kids. It just means that you're a better mom when you're very busy and when you actually take care of your own things, meaning work sometimes. And it's completely fine. Obviously, you've had your business for a few years. Even the mentoring business was here already for a couple of years before COVID arrived. But for anyone who are either scared to start a business because of coronavirus and they've thought about it for so many years, they might have their business plans already, but they're pushing the launch date because of the pandemic. Or if someone who, like some of your friends and colleagues, they're thinking, okay, I've taken my step back, my business is not flourishing anymore. What can I do? Do you have any advice for those people?
Sure. I think everything starts with you as a business owner. And I think what we often do is we look outwards. We look outwards for the solutions. We're like, right, who can I work with? Where can I get free advice? What book should I be reading? And it's all about the resource being outside, when actually the biggest resource we have is inside ourselves. All of the answers to everything we need to know about our businesses are inside, because often it's the stuff around how we sabotage our beliefs about ourselves. You know, people buy people. So, you know, there are millions of yoga instructors, but people choose the one that they like, right? Based on a range of different things. And so my number one piece of advice is to not try to professionalize what you do. Like, just be yourself. Just show up with your quirks, with the things like, so I can't spell. I'm terrible at spelling, right? But I've got like 8 books on Amazon, and those books make me money, right? And yes, I get an editor, but sometimes there is, you know, the occasional spelling mistake in my blogs. I don't beat myself up. That's part of who I am. And so sometimes when we know we have these so-called flaws, it stops us from showing up. We say, oh, I can't blog because people will notice my grammar, or I can't do speaking gigs or podcasts because I don't sound as posh as everybody else, or I have an accent. I hear that a lot. I have an accent, I can't do speaking. I'm like, it's bullshit. You know, people will love you because of your accent, you know? And I think when we accept ourselves, we allow other people to accept us too. And that's how we attract people to us. I have 3 principles in all of my programs, and I call them the 3 V's. I've just got them printed on a mug because I just have to remind people of them all the time. And it's be visible, you know, be fearlessly visible. When you think you can't be any more visible, double it, right? Be everywhere. Don't be afraid to show up. Allow yourself to be vulnerable. Talk about the things, you know, talk about the dark side, the shadow of you. Talk about the things you're afraid of, the things where you feel like you're not good enough, because other people will resonate with it. And the third thing is to be valuable. Like so often we have this mindset of, oh, I mustn't give everything away for free. And it's true, you mustn't give stuff away for free. But when you're starting out in business, you also have to prove your worth. You have to prove that you are good at what you do. And no amount of money spent on a website is going to do that. So when I first started up my plus size fitness business, before I'd even made any money, I went out onto Twitter because I didn't have Facebook or Instagram or any of those things. I only had Twitter. I went out to Twitter and I said, I'm looking for 10 women who I can train to run a marathon. And I didn't charge them. I didn't, you know, it wasn't about making money. I just wanted to prove that I could do it. I wanted to prove the concept. And I worked with those women for a year to get them up to the marathon thing. And that was brilliant for social media because people were following their journey and it was no longer about me, it was about them. And so that meant when I then started charging for online coaching, people were like, of course, because we've just seen her do it publicly. And so if you are going to offer free stuff, which we often get encouraged to do, make sure there is an exchange. So the exchange is always, I'll give you a coaching session for free, or I'll give you the product for free, or whatever it is, on the condition that you do X, Y, Z, that you rave about it to other people, that you will do me a testimonial, that you do a video testimonial, that you tell your friends. There's always an exchange. But I think we have to show we have to do the work that we're trying to sell. And sometimes when we don't have the clients, it feels like chicken and egg. It's like, well, I can't spend money on marketing because I don't have any clients, so therefore I've got no money. And then we feel a bit stuck. So my thing is like, just do the work. Do the work, and trust by doing the work, the paying clients will come. But, you know, we have so much technology available to us now. You know, if you were starting a business 30 years ago, oh my God, it would have been so hard to get traction. Now with a brilliant idea and a small group of people, you can grow a global movement. And it's all about you just trusting and believing that that is possible. That there are no excuses now. You don't even need to have money to grow a business. You know, we have social media platforms, we have Canva, we have all of these different things that enable us to create content that people resonate with, and they want to kind of be in your world. I think it's a wonderful time to be an entrepreneur right now.
I think you're completely right, but I believe that now people are less excited about the internet because it's been around for so many years. And for businesses who want to create something, and you have to go through the internet and you have to go through social media, and people are feeling like it's a bit overcrowded. So you have like so many information. I know that, for example, just for the podcast, right at the beginning, when I was looking for a platform where I could post a podcast and it was going to do the job for me to have it on iTunes, on Spotify, there was so many information online that it took me a little bit to actually be, not to be overwhelmed. And I almost stopped because I was like, I can't. I need someone to actually be in front of me and say, do this, this, and this, and this, because Google is just too overcrowded for me. And I feel, because I feel like it's like this for a lot of things. People post so much. You have professionals or people who pretend to be professionals. They give you advices. And I feel like, sometimes people can feel overwhelmed.
Here's the thing, right? All of it always comes back to mindset, right? When we are in that overwhelm, it's often because we don't want to make the wrong choice, right? So we are presented with a million options, right? That's all that online business is. Millions of options, right? I teach people how to design group programs, and they come and they think I'm going to tell them how to do it. I'm not. I'm going to share you the options, and then you are going to trust your gut instinct as to which one is right for you. Because there are no gurus. There's nobody online that has got the one and only way to build a profitable business. That is just not true. And so it always comes back to, who are you? What kind of leader are you? I have something called the tribe leader archetype test. And what that does is it helps you identify what kind of tribe leader are you? Are you the creator, the person that can create new ideas all the time that people kind of want to be part of? Are you the mother? Are you the person that's like, come here, come and work with me, I'll look after you? Because the energy of both of those things are very different. Some people want to create stuff all the time. They don't want to look after people. They don't want to have a Facebook group where people are asking them questions all the time. And so identifying who you are as a leader is really important. But I think that overwhelm stuff is always based on, I don't want to make a mistake. And sadly, but as entrepreneurs, we should be willing to make mistakes. Like, not millions of them, but it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to try a platform and it doesn't work, because then through experience, you learn the right way. And so I think every problem that we face in business, like, oh, there are too many people doing it, that's not the problem. The problem isn't that there's too many people doing it. The problem is that we don't believe that we're unique enough. And the reason that we don't believe that we're unique enough is because we're not looking deep enough and accepting every aspect of ourselves. So, there are millions of business coaches. I could say, it's too crowded, I don't have enough experience, it's a silly place for me to try and do business. There's only one Julie Creffield, right? And there are very few business coaches that show up like I do. I'm very working class, I'm very down to earth, I get stuff done. I may not have all of the academics, but I've been doing community engagement in the real world for 25 years. So that's what I'm bringing to the table. I'm bringing to the table experiences of, walking into a room with 100 old age pensioners, and them saying, we want to get involved in the Olympics, what are you going to do for us? And having to come up with an idea to get them inspired, and they were my hardest audience yet, 170-year-olds, they're a hard audience, right? And so I'm bringing those experiences to my work as a business coach. And nobody, when you start a new business, sometimes it is a new area of expertise, right? So you might train as a yoga instructor and you'd be like, but I'm only new. You might be new as the yoga instructor, but you're not new at life. You bring all of these experiences. As a mum, I bring so much of my resilience, my creativity, my time management skills, because I've learned that through having a child and being a single mum and having to juggle things. We bring all of that to our businesses. And when we look inside and say, what is it that's unique about me? What is my niche? How do I stand apart from other people? And I think that is the problem. It's not that there's too much going on online, because there are new people all the time making money. I think it's just about finding your thing, finding the unique aspect of yourself. And sometimes it's hard to admit that about yourself. It takes a bit of practice to identify the skills and qualities and experiences that you've got, and to put value on it, and to go, actually, there are people in the world that want me over and above someone else. I mean, I always use Marie Forleo as an example, right? Marie Forleo, the pinnacle of business coaches, right? I don't have swishy hair. I'm not a size 8. I can't be Marie Forleo even if I wanted to. But there are people out there who get completely turned off by someone like that. Someone that's immaculate, someone that, is American, all of the things that she is, I'm not. And so we will always make buying decisions based on the brands we feel aligned to. When we go into the supermarket, there are a million different types of washing up liquid or washing powder or spinach, and we make buying decisions based on our values and the things that are important to us. And I remember when I was at uni, I used to work in a salad factory, right? I used to pack salad when I was at uni, because there were no jobs where I went to uni. And what really used to make me laugh was the same spinach leaves went in a different plastic bag for Marks and Spencer's and for Asda. It was the same spinach leaves. But the people in Marks and Spencer's paid 50p more than the people in Asda, even though it was the same product, right? And so it really opened up my eyes to the marketing and the importance of packaging and messaging. So even though the product was exactly the same, the package was different, and it got shipped off to a different supermarket, and people would be willing to pay more or less. That blew my mind when I was 18. I was like, I didn't know that, and so here's the thing. Somebody could pay £40 for a personal training session, or they could pay 4,000. If you are a Hollywood star, you are not paying £40 an hour for your personal training. And it's about understanding the value, what is it that you bring to the table, and I love talking about money and price points and stuff like that, because so often we undervalue, and we undercharge, and I think women can spend years undercharging. And I think that was a big part of my decision back in February, March time, was I've spent a long time undercharging, even in my plus size fitness business. I wasn't, even though I was making the money, I was investing a lot of the money back into the growth of the company. And I was just done. I just drew a line under it and was like, I want to be able to take school holidays off and go on holiday. I want to be able to take the whole of August and go travel to Bali if that's what I want to do. I want to be able to replace my dishwasher when the dishwasher breaks rather than try and fix it all the time. I want freedom, and money sometimes helps with that freedom. So I think sometimes we just have to decide. We have to decide, this is my year and I'm going to go for it, no matter what.
You were talking at the beginning about how you lost your confidence after being made redundant a few times, and now you seem like a very confident person. How did you regain this confidence?
Sure, great question. I think when you get made redundant, particularly in your early career, so I got made redundant 4 times in 10 years between my 20s and 30s. And I think you're really vulnerable as a woman during that time, because you're trying to build your career. You're trying to get, I think at that time of your life, you're seeking validation and you want to be told by your boss that you're good. and you want to get promotion, and you want your peers to think that you're good. And so often, rather than pushing forward and going for the opportunities, we wait to be told that we're ready. And so getting made redundant all of those times, every time, even though I knew the reasons, every time I was like, oh, it must be me. What is it about me that means my managers don't fight for me? And actually, looking back now, I was a real maverick in every job I ever did. I was a pain in the butt to manage, right? Because I was ambitious. So I would go in and do a job where it would have a really clear work plan. And I would go in and go, it's a great work plan, but actually I've got better ideas. I want to do this, and I want to apply for this funding, and I want to do this. And, you know, and managers would be like, oh, I'm here just for a job, right? Particularly in the public sector, right? So people in their 50s, 60s who've kind of done the grafting, they just now want an easy life. And then a young 20-year-old comes in with all these ideas that makes their life a little bit more difficult, and it can be challenging. And so now I look back and I think, I don't know whether I got made redundant because of my personality or because of my workability or any of those things, or maybe it was just a policy decision. But I knew, particularly when I had my daughter, I was like, you know, no one's coming to save me. No one's coming to say, look, I'll look after you for the rest of your life. You know, you just sit back and watch daytime TV. No one was going to do that. The only person that was going to change my life was me. And I now had a small person looking at me, and particularly a girl. I really wanted Rose to see what hard work and creativity and believing in yourself could look like. And so I think that was the confidence. And it's not like 1 minute you wake up and you have all of this confidence, but it's when you look back. When I look back at some of the things that I've achieved, like I got a phone call really early on in my fitness business from This Morning, the TV show. And they said, we want you to come on to This Morning and do a 6-week thing, a 6-week feature. And I said yes. And I went on and I, you know, met Holly and Philip, and, you know, I was on daytime TV live for 6 weeks. Afterwards, I was like, oh my God, did I really do that? But at the time, the adrenaline and the desire to get my brand in front of, you know, the UK, that's what drove me. Afterwards, I was a mess. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Who am I? Like, how did I have the courage to show up and do those things? And I can remember there was one day where Gok Wan was supposed to come into the studio to do this fitness clove feature. And for some reason, he wasn't available. And they said, would you do it? And I was like, sure. So there I was on daytime TV with models coming. And I was going, and so this model here is wearing this. And, you know, and I look back at that footage and I go like, who do you think you are? You know, and so when you realize you can do these incredible things, it makes you have more trust and faith that there are more incredible things that you can do. And it's about courage. It's about saying yes. It's saying yes to opportunities, even if you're not sure if you can do it. And that is a big thing for me. It's like, you know, I encourage women to sign up for races, even though they haven't even started yet. You know, so I'm about to start a new running program. Starts in 2 weeks' time. And the very first activity they have to do is to book their race. You know, to put the date in the diary where they're going to run their 5K. And these are women that haven't started running yet, but they have to have a goal. They have to believe that it's possible. Because otherwise what we do is we go, oh, when I get to a place where I feel ready, then I'll put myself forward for those opportunities. And that moment never comes. We never feel ready.
That is true. One last question. Can you tell us what's your view on success?
Sure. I think success is about impact. I think it's about, you know, we only have a finite amount of time on this planet. And once we're gone, what have we left behind? You know, and for some of us, that's children, and our legacy is our kids. But I think my view is that is not enough. It's not enough just to leave offspring, you know, who are, you know, well-functioning humans. I don't think that is enough. For me, I want to have made a difference to people's lives. I want to have changed kind of the trajectory of the world somehow, even in a small way, because if enough of us do that, the world changes for the better. And that feels really big. It feels like a big thing. But for me, like, I'm not particularly driven by money. But I also know that money unlocks experiences and opportunities in a way that being broke doesn't. So when I think about my plus size fitness business, I've got huge plans which will generate a huge amount of money. But I have this vision of investing that money in a retreat centre for women. I would love to have a retreat centre that was specifically for plus size women, where they could come and feel that they're not being judged, that it's not about weight loss. They can come and they can heal and they can have fun and they can go on hikes. And that for me is legacy, being able to create those experiences for people. That's legacy. So for me, it's not about having a jet set lifestyle. It's not about having millions in the bank. It's about changing people's lives. That for me is success.
Well, it was very interesting to talk to you. You're so inspiring. I wish you all the best, and I hope you have created your legacy already, but I hope it goes way further than that. And thank you so much for today.
Thank you. It's been a ball. I've loved it.
Bye.
Bye.
Voila, that's the end of this episode, and I want to thank Julie for telling her story. Please share it on your social media, and it might reach someone who will feel inspired to follow their dream, no matter what crazy pandemic we're in. Don't forget, life is short. Live it to the fullest.